Okay. Seriously, thank you, sir, for your time. It was a really good interview.
Yes,
I
sir.
I mean, for someone like me who's considering, deciding what to do in their life, I think this was a really, really, really nice experience.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I think I can relate to your situation that when you are in undergrad, I think you feel very pressured that like whatever small decisions that you will make will change your life. To some extent, it's true. But I would also say like my life is a good example that like life is very cumulative, right? I think like I was not a 9 pointer at IIT Roorkee, and I didn't start my PhD at Princeton, right? So there are, like my life was on a slow burners too, and it took me a while to figure out what I really want to do. And it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not do your optimal at this point of time. But I think like you should think of life as a whole, right? I think like few years lost here and there doesn't count, right? So I don't take too much pressure that you have to make the best choice, best decisions right now. I think life is too big for that. So try to do your best, try to, like try to figure out what's the best options for you, what's the best direction for you, but don't feel pressured about it.
Yes, sir. I feel really lucky that right now I'm in first year and I'm getting to interact with people like you. It's really just overwhelming.
Well, I'm glad that you are having this experience. I think like your group is doing a great job. I think running these interviews. I think if the student community at Roorkee is watching these interviews, I think this is good. Right? I mean, I wish when I was an undergrad, I had all these exposure and experiences. When I joined IIT Roorkee in 2005, and I think like it was a time when Roorkee was evolving. We were like maybe 1 or 2 years ahead of us, or the batch 1 or 2 years ahead of us was the first pure IT batch that came out. So there was a lot of learning going on, and the exposure was limited back then. Like when I talk to Samagr and Rohan now, I feel like you folks have much better exposure than what we had. But at the same time, I think like couple of things, right? Like take risks. You can go anywhere in life, and you can afford to take risk. You can afford to fail, right? And this will go on with your life forever. So I think like I can give you an anecdotal example. So when I was working at Deloitte, I was very clear that I don't really want to continue working there, and I was clear that I want to do research. So I wrote to a professor at ISC and said like I want to work with you as a project assistant. And he said, okay, come and we have a standard test, and you can give that test, and if you qualify, then I'll take you. So they gave me a test, and I was from ECI. I never took operating systems, and all the questions in that test were from operating systems. I couldn't answer much. And then I kind of like, when I gave the test, I realized, it's not going to work out. I went back. And actually, like I was in Hyderabad and I came to ISC Bangalore to give that test, and I went back to Hyderabad. And then the professor emailed me that, I saw your test results. Can you come and meet me like in 1 or 2 days? I was like, why is he calling me? And then I took the train, went back to ISC Bangalore. And then he told me that, like, yes, you have failed miserably in this test, but I still think that you can do a good job with this type of research, and maybe the standardized test is not the right way of judging you. And he took a chance on me, right? And him taking a chance on me changed my entire perspective about life, right? Because before that, I didn't really like, I worked as a research intern during my undergrad as well, but that was not the same high quality exposure that I was looking for. But when I worked at ISC, then I went to NC State, and the first research group that I started working with, they were also doing wireless research. At ISC, I was also doing wireless research. I felt that the quality of that research group was not as good as ISC, and that kind of like helped me calibrate my options. Like, what am I doing? Why am I really working here? Then I reached out to a different faculty who was like, superstar in networking. His research was not related to wireless at all, but I still took a risk, reached out to him, and then he eventually found a project to work with me which was related to wireless, and I worked with him. But then he left. So then like, my life again gave me this bunch of options that, like, okay. So he went out and he became the research head at Samsung Research. And like there was some miscommunication whether he's coming back or not, that like that ended up wasting 1 year of my life at NC State. Like, typically it takes 2 years to do masters. I was there for 3 years because for 1 year there was no communication whether this professor is coming back or not, right? But at the same time, it was fine. I think like, as I was saying, right, I wasted a couple of years, but that's fine, because I knew that I can, like, at that point of time, I had the choice that I can, work with some other faculty and get my PhD done in 1 or 2 years. But I also knew that chances of being in academia, if I go that route, are very, very low, right? So then I was like, if I really want to go in academia, then I have to take some risk here. Like, it might be additional 1 or 2 years that I will have to eventually waste, but that's fine. That's fine if like, if that's what I really want to do. And when I went to Georgia Tech, I was very, very clear. And I went to Georgia Tech because that's where my advisor, Nick Feamster, was working. And I went there, and I was very clear that I have to do whatever it takes to become a faculty, right? And I was very lucky that in my first year at Georgia Tech, I was able to work on projects which were very, very impactful. I became the face of that project, and we were like, like, I was lucky that I was able to publish in the first year itself, and that changed the entire trajectory that I had. And then the advisor moved to Princeton after the first year, and I moved with him. So eventually, I graduated from Princeton, but it's a long journey to that thing, right? Like, I didn't start at Princeton, and things. There were a lot of things that were beyond my control, but whatever was with my control, I had some clarity, and I was not afraid of taking risks, right? I think that's the message that I want to give to you all, that it's okay to make some mistakes. It's okay if some of the things are not within your control, but when things are in your control, don't be afraid of taking risks.
Wow, said. Like, your life has been like a sort of adventures of a movie that goes up and down.
It's like
And
a
now you're
roller coaster ride sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster. I think there are ups and downs. I think, like, I would also say that I was at NC State. There were a lot of things that didn't go as I was expecting, but I also met there, right? So that was the biggest positive that came out, and she was the pillar of strength for me. And like, when I was in a situation where I was deciding what I need to do, I think she was my strength. She was kind of like, okay, this is what you should be doing. This is what you deserve. And I kind of like, I thank her for entire things, because I think, like, one thing that when you're doing for PhD, you are in your 20s. You are not working industry. You're not like making full salaries. So there are a lot of sacrifices that you have to make to pursue that intellectual freedom, right? So I was lucky that I had that type of support group. I had my parents, of course, but my wife, right? So she was working full time. She was basically taking care of the entire family. So I was like not responsible for anything financially, right? So that gave me the intellectual freedom that even if I am like, spending a couple of years just doing research, not making any money, I had that freedom.